Hey everyone, welcome to Lot C2. I'm Mike, and I'm joined here by Alex.
Hello.
Uh, and this is just a little idea I've been throwing around for a while. We're both car enthusiasts. Probably good to get that out of the way. Neither of us are professional drivers, stunt drivers, whatever, or mechanics, but we are car enthusiasts. And on today's episode, the first episode, I thought it would be a good idea if we talked about our personal history of cars, the cars we've owned since we started driving. We're both in our mid-20s, so we haven't been driving for a long time, a lot of time, but enough time to have multiple cars. So I figured we would talk about that today. Alex, how are you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good. I wanted to say that I I think that we're professionals at doing some stuff like making things work in certain situations with unconventional items like rolls of garden hose connectors from your local Lowe's.
Yeah. Oh man, whoever that dealer that bought my Mustang. Oh boy, are they going to be mad when they start looking into it. Oh man.
We'll have to get into that a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right. Well, I am 24. Got my license when I was 16, as you do in the Midwest here. If you're at all into cars or like motor anything with an engine, anything with wheels that moves on its own. So I guess we'll start from the beginning. I guess going back, I turned 16, got my license, and I wanted a car. I didn't know what car I wanted. Actually, I did know what car I wanted. I wanted a Camaro.
No way.
Which is going to be kind of funny when you...
I never knew you wanted a Camaro.
Actually, my dream car, when it came out, was the 2010 ZL1.
Oh, Lord.
I thought that was the coolest thing. And then, so I got my license 2012, and I was looking at cars, and I looked at Camaros, and I didn't want a fourth gen. I wanted a fifth gen, but they were too expensive. So I'm like, okay, all right, let's look at the Challengers. All right, those are too expensive. So I moved on to Mustang, and I'm like, oh, okay, these are cheap. They've been out since the modern generation's been out since 2005. So I'm like, okay, all right, look at those. So I started shopping around, and found locally a V6 Mustang with a 5-speed manual. Now, keep in mind, I didn't know how to drive stick at all at this time. Actually, let me step back. The whole reason why I wanted a pony car in the first place was that summer my dad got the Chevelle.
Oh,
which
I see.
You've seen with... Yeah. Right? Yeah, early that summer, 2012, No, it was 2013, the summer after. Got my license. I got my license in November, so I had to go through a winter before I could drive in nice weather. In May 2013, my dad got the Chevelle, the 69 Chevelle SS 396, 4-speed, the whole shebang. And that was what kind of like, all right, well, I want a muscle car, which muscle cars don't really... Well, in the sense of the word, don't really exist anymore, technically, because they're all pony cars, technically, but that doesn't really mean anything
That's
anymore.
a topic for another day.
Yes, it is. So anyway, I found this 2005 Mustang, 5-speed manual. Cool, great. Had, I think when I bought it, it had 140,000 miles on it.
Oh, I forgot about all of this.
Yeah. I kind of pushed it out of my mind, too, because it's been so long. But yeah, it had 140,000 miles on it. We paid, I believe, $6,900 nice for the car. And my dad had to drive it home because I did not know how to drive stick. So I followed him home I don't know what we took there. Either took the Stratus or the green XJ Cherokee over there. One of those two. And picked up the car. And my first experience that day, brought it to a parking lot. I stalled the thing like 20 times in a row. It was, I wanted to sell it. I was so disappointed. Like, I thought, 'cause I was 16 and I was cocky. I'm like, oh, it'll be easy. You just do it. I watched a YouTube video. I knew how to drive stick, of course. I can drive manual in Forza, so it's the same thing. Blah. So, anyway, I hated it. I wanted to sell the car. I was so distraught. Anyway, fast forward literally 24 hours, and I got it down. It was really just going from a stop. Moving from a stop was the hardest, most scary thing. You're inside of a car that you paid for, that you insure, and there's other people around you, and it's like, man, if I roll back into
and
the
there's
sky,
traffic coming at you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're sitting at an intersection, and you're like on a hill, and you're just like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be stranded here. I'm gonna have to call someone to come get me. So I got that car. It had a Flowmaster muffler on it, and it was tuned, but it was tuned, not great, I don't think. It was weird. I know this because it had a neutral rev limiter, which is not factory on those cars. Usually they should rev to red line in neutral, but that car did not.
Why would they put that in there?
I don't know. Oh, it's like really primitive launch control. Like you can, if your speed is below like 5 or whatever, it'll lock you at $4,000, so you can bounce off the limiter, and then when you dump the clutch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the car also had 410 gears, so good acceleration, horrible top end. The speedometer was not corrected. So those cars had a speed limiter at 114. However, when the speedometer was at 114, the car was actually doing 93. So or 91 or something. So I didn't actually go over 100 in my first car, because quite literally the computer would not let it, because it thought it was doing 114. Yeah, that was my first car, and quickly after I bought it, started getting, it overheated twice, like with a week or two after I got it, but I thought maybe that's because I suck at driving, and I was leaving it in first for a really long time just so I wouldn't have to shift as much, the Altman way. And it overheated twice at different times, like days apart, and I thought nothing of it. And then I started to smell something sweet, syrupy, and then started seeing white smoke coming out of the exhaust, and started Googling around. Told me to check the oil cap, pulled the oil cap, and lo and behold, there's that milky residue right there.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, indeed. So the last time I drove the car was the Xbox One release date. I drove to Best Buy to pick up the Xbox, and that's a story in itself, because I went there. My mom actually was the one who reserved it, because I didn't have $500 in my name, so she's the one who paid. Like, it was under her name. I paid her the money, but she put it on her card, because I didn't have a card at that time. And they wouldn't give me the Xbox. We had the same last name, the same address, but because I wasn't my mom, they wouldn't give me the Xbox. So I sat in the...
Did the Xbox Ones really come out that recently?
Yeah, November 2013. Well, I mean, that's like eight.
No, you had that car until 2014.
Well, yeah, the last time I drove it before I had the engine replaced, which we're getting to.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah,
gotcha.
the last time I drove it was to pick up the Xbox. And then right after that, we... Actually, I remember my parents didn't want me to drive it there, and I'm like, the hell with you. I'm getting damn Xbox and Forza 5, which turned out to be crap, but that's whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, I had the car brought in to the same guy that works on my dad's Chevelle. He took... It's like the front of the engine off, and he said, I can't remember. The only one thing that stands out most to me, well, they drove it onto the tow truck. Like they drove it onto the flatbed to bring it there. When I was gone at school. When he got the car and opened up the engine, one of the timing chains was off. Like, off. I don't know how that works.
Did one of the links snap? Like, was the chain broken?
He just said it was off, and I don't know if there's got to be a front and back because the car was driven onto the tow truck, but when they got it, one of the timing chains was off. And
that's weird. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, I didn't either. So they were going through the engine, and then like a month went by, and then he's like, well, we're probably going to have to replace it. So anyway, long story short, I drove the car in November. I didn't get it back until like February or so. It had a new engine, and so they had a new ECU, which didn't know what water was. So anytime it rained, the car would go into limp mode for like 2 months, which was fun.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, so eventually it stopped, but that was sort of my first Mustang. And then to end this story, Alex and I went to school together. Started in fall 2014, college. I remember walking to class one day, pulled out my phone, went on Craigslist, back before Craigslist wasn't shit for cars or anything like that. And
does it even exist anymore?
yeah, dude, when I was looking for Shelby's, I went on Craigslist and I found nothing. It's terrible. And
I can't remember the last time I went on Craigslist.
Yeah, well mine was the last time I actually used it was when I was walking to class that day, pulled it up, searched 2005 Mustang GT because I was like, all right, well, it's time for an upgrade. The V6 was good to learn in. It was nice to have fun in my last year of high school. And I got 2 summers with it, whatever. And like the first or second listing was a black 05 Mustang GT manual, had 80,000 miles on it, and it had red leather interior. And holy shit, did I want that red leather interior. But yeah, anyway, that is the car I eventually bought. But let's hear about your first car.
Okay. So my first car, and just for the record, both of our first cars, we still had them when we met each other at NIU, I think. Yeah?
Yes, we did.
I had my first car a little bit longer than you did, though.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my first car wasn't quite as exciting, but still had some fun with it. My car was actually a family car. My grandparents bought it brand new when I was a baby. I actually went with them to the dealership when my grandpa brought it home. There's a picture of me. I have it somewhere. There's a picture of my grandpa standing next to the car holding me. It was a 1996 Saturn SL2 gold. I guess back in the day, they it says Saturn on the rear bumper, and I guess they used to paint those like an accent color, and my grandma actually made them take it off because she thought it looked stupid.
Really? What?
She made them
like a black inserts or something?
Yeah, I don't know what they would have painted it. I don't know. I mean, what could you have possibly painted to go with gold? I mean, I feel like it would have had to been black or maybe like a wine red or something.
Right. Here,
I feel like anything else would just look stupid.
Yeah, I'm on Google Images right now. I'm not finding any. I wonder if that was a rare option.
Well, anyway, it never came to be with that car because my grandma made them paint it over.
Right.
But
one of one ever
it was
made.
pretty interesting looking. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? So, I'm trying to think. They had the window sticker in the glove box, and it was kind of interesting seeing what was an option on those cars. Like, that was back in the day when AC was still an option.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what else was an option on that car.
I remember.
I know the AC was.
Yeah, we went through it once, and you found. I can't remember. I don't think it was AC. I think it was something even crazier than that. It wasn't even like powered locks or anything like. It was something.
Power locks was an option.
Right.
The stereo, the factory stereo that it had, which you never saw because I had a different head unit put in it after like a year of owning it. Less than a year, actually. Like 6 months. Because it only played cassette. But
well, that's all you
had,
need. Come on.
Well, I mean, back at the time, still had my iPod Touch, and I wanted to play that.
You put in a 45 player.
Yeah, there we go. I wasn't quite as into the records back then.
Right.
So, but no, the factory stereo that it came with had like one of those 90s AF equalizers.
Yeah.
So it had that. If you turned the bass all the way up, it would literally like rattle the shit out of the interior door panels.
Dude, I remember that. I remember going to the Walmart to get gloves or whatever when it was getting cold for
we're gonna say
drumline,
Steve.
Oh, that's when you yeah, that's when you lit up the tires rounding the corner from Annie Glidden on the Lucinda, right?
Yes, I did. We were turning left onto Lucinda, and I just literally foot to the floor. That was when I kind of started realizing, like, this car's not going to break if I beat on it a little bit, so I started having a bit more fun with it.
Right.
And
oh, yeah. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, your exhaust modification.
Yeah, we'll get there. But, so, yeah, my grandparents owned it since new. I want to say by the time I got it, it had like 93K on it. 93,700 something.
It's not bad.
They took really good care of it. I mean, if you know Saturns, you know that one of the alluring features is the plastic body panels, so they don't get like body rust.
I forgot about that. That's a good point. I mean, you don't see many Saturns at all anymore, but the ones you do, yeah, they never have rust.
Yeah, and this one had rust. Like the rear, this was the SL2's the sedan. The 2 stands for dual overhead cam, which bumps it from like 90 horsepower to 124 horsepower.
Well, that's pretty good. I didn't get a dual overhead cam car until yesterday, so I mean, you got me beat there.
Didn't your other GT have dual overhead cams?
Nope, the 3 valves are single overhead cam.
Really?
Yes, they are.
I actually did not know
it's
that.
Like, yeah, that's why the whole 3 valve thing. It's like the only reason 3 valve existed is because Chevy axed the Camaro. The Mustang had no competition, so they had no reason to make a better engine. So they got the 3 valve.
Huh. Was not aware.
That's
of
my
that.
opinion on it, at least. Yeah, I haven't had a dual overhead cam car until right now.
Well, I had one for my first car, and I have one now, which we'll get to later. But, yeah, they took pretty good care of it. They didn't need it anymore because my grandparents had retired, and I had just turned 16. Literally went and got my license the day that I was eligible to get it. And then a few days later, they gave me the car because they were retired. They didn't need it anymore. And yeah, that's basically how I learned to wrench on cars, how I learned to replace spark plugs, change the oil, stuff like that. That car, it mostly had like maintenance-y stuff, new battery, new alternator. Didn't really do anything exciting with it the first couple years I owned it, really till I got out of high school. The only thing I did that was really exciting was get that head unit put in there. And it actually had It had a little trailer hitch on it because my grandpa used to pull a small utility trailer with it. And boy, was this thing
Okay,
rusted
what?
to hell. Yeah,
I say, what are those rated to tow?
I don't know, but it pulled it.
1,000 pounds.
Yeah, it was probably pulling about that, maybe a little less.
All right, 38 highway with the manual, 36 with the auto. Jeez, I wish. Oh man, that's
Oh yeah,
that's even that's fantastic.
I
Even
could.
for today, that's really good.
The SL1's got a little bit better fuel economy, but I mean, I could beat on this thing and I would never get below like upper 20s combined. Yeah,
Wow,
oh
that.
yeah, it was 4-speed automatic, but it did okay. It
Wow, yeah.
it had this little
That's. I'm trying
switch
to.
next to the gear lever. I don't know if you remember, it was like a performance mode switch.
Oh right.
I don't think it did. It literally did nothing from what I could tell.
That's. I'm trying to like for then. Like it's not tightening up the suspension or anything or making the steering
No.
heavier. The only thing I could think it's doing, and this is like barely, because 96 was the first year of OBD2, I think.
Yeah, it was either
Um,
95
the
or
only thing
96.
yeah,
think.
the only thing I can think of is that it would hold gears longer.
See, and
Like it would.
that's what I think it did probably.
That made sense. Yeah, I mean that thing was the Saturn. It's the gold SL2. I mean, like that's the Saturn.
Yes, where my Snapchat name comes from and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, right. I mean that's I didn't I thought like nothing like not good or bad of Saturn like at all until I met you, and I'm like then I had like I got that small appreciation for Saturn after that because it's like the underdog. They've always been the underdog. They were like kind of they debuted as the underdog. It's Saturn.
Oh yeah.
It's
They were made to be like a cheap little Econobox throwaway car. And I mean, there's tons of them out there that still run. I'm sure if this thing hadn't met its untimely, somewhat demise, it would have still been running. Um,
well, that's yeah. That would have been it really would have been a perfect candidate for a manual swap, I think.
oh yeah, I would have loved to do some. I had this idea in my head when I was in high school, like before I knew how anything worked, that I was gonna like bolt a turbo onto it, which people have done, but I mean, with how much that thing burnt oil, I'm sure it would not have lasted long before I blew something up.
I mean, honestly, though, that well, I know. All right, I know. We keep kicking around the idea of getting a beat up SRT4. What if we got a Saturn and slapped an eBay turbo on it?
That would be pretty fun. It'd probably be a little bit cheaper too, since everyone wants, you know, $5,000 for their clapped out SRT fours.
Are they going up?
Eh, they're kind of stagnant right now, I think. I still would really like one someday, but they're all just so clapped.
Yeah, it's you have to make that conscious decision. It's like you get one that's a piece of crap, and then it's wow. All right, I'm on Car Gurus right now.
Dude,
Two
some of them
listed
are
local.
going
They're
for.
both over.
Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
they're both 12 grand. I'll just tell you, they're both 12 grand.
Oh
The
yeah,
two that are
there's some that are
local.
listed for like absurd prices, but those are like the collector immaculate all stock 48,000 miles or whatever.
Yeah, this one's got 62, and this one has 90. They're both 12 grand. 2004
I
and
think
03.
12 grand
Oh,
is
the
pushing
04.
it for a 90,000 mile neon.
Yeah, just put it on nationwide. Okay, here. Oh my god, an '05 SRT4 with 17,000 miles. Guess
Is
the
it
price.
is it the blue and white one?
God damn it! How did you know that?
Cuz I've seen it on Facebook before. They want like 28,000 for it, right?
25 now,
Isn't that nuts?
but Yeah, I mean, here's one next to it. I don't know if the guy just listed it wrong. 107,000 miles for 24.5.
No
What the
way.
hell is that? What is that?
No
What
way.
is this? Yeah, 5 owners. 20,
Oh my
28
God.
highway, really? Yeah. Whoa, we'll get into.
That is
You know how
so
many owners my
ridiculous.
car has now. But yeah, all right. Here's one where the entire front end is like looks like fake, crappy carbon fiber. What do we got?
As you do as a Neon owner.
40,000 miles, 10 grand. How much did Speeve pay for his?
I want to say he paid like
He didn't
4,
pay that much. Yeah.
and it was all
And
stock.
his was low miles. Yeah, his was stock, low miles in the sunburn orange or whatever, rare color.
I don't know if I'd say
Gee.
it's rare. I think it's an '05 only color, but I don't know how rare it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I think
I think
Well,
that one's
I'm trying to
05
remember if
only. Maybe the blue is 04 only. I know that for sure, and I think the yellow is 03 only.
Yeah, that guy who worked at the dining hall had the yellow one.
I think he
Did
still
he ever
has
come
it.
to a
I think I've
meet?
seen that car around. No, not that
No
I
shit.
can remember.
Right, and then we have the ACRs, which are honestly those are pretty cool.
Doug DeMuro reviewed one of them.
Yeah, he did, and I mean the point he makes about how it's not a neon, it's an SRT4 is the funniest shit because it's so true that it really is how they are. Most of these guys.
Reminds us of someone we know.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of Calibre SRT4s, I really do think just because they're weird and not really desirable, I really do think like one of those with like 500 miles is going to come up for sale in like 20 years for like 50 grand. Just watch. It's going to happen. Yeah, I think because it's just like, okay, everyone knows the Neon SRT4. I see anytime someone posts a Calibre SRT on like any Facebook group, I'll see people come in and just have no idea that it even existed, that it ever existed. And it's just, like, yeah, that's going to be one of those cars. I really do feel like that well-preserved
Right.
examples are going to go for a lot. I mean, Neons are going to go for more, mainly because they're more abused. And then Calibers because no one knows what the hell they are, that they even existed. I would think.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing for the SRT6.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Do you think those are going to really go up in price?
Not soon, I don't. Eventually, but we're probably like a decade out from that, really. I'll check.
To this day, I think I've only seen maybe 2 in person.
We saw that one at the Paul Walker meet.
Oh, I forgot about that. And I've seen one at the Mopar show in Belvedere.
Right. I mean, honestly, they're cheap. So there's 2. Oh, okay, that's the same car. They listed it twice because they're that kind of dealer. 18 grand, 35,000 miles. 14, 63,000. I mean, that's not bad, I guess. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you're getting a supercharged AMG Mercedes for that. I mean, what are those even? What were those? What was the MSRP on one of those bad boys? 45 grand. Holy balls! Imagine paying 45 grand
Wow.
for a Crossfire. They get 24 highway.
AMG Crossfire.
Yeah, right. That mileage is dog shit. My Mustang.
What's the city one?
It's
then?
1724.
Or the city rating. Yikes.
My Mustang GT got better than that. I know it has a blower on it, but like, come on. Seriously.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the first car. Little sidetracked, but that's
It
okay.
happens.
It happens. It's the way it goes. Way she goes. Way she goes, boys. Um, so that car was the first time I drove without power steering because I was on my way home from work one night and my tensioner decided to go. So I, out of nowhere, like, lost my lights, uh, lost my power steering, lost my radio, like, everything, because everything runs off of that.
Right.
And that was a little scary. I'm sitting here, trying to drive, yank on the wheel and hoping that my car doesn't overheat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Made it home. That was an interesting time. So, anyway, fast forward so we can get through this one here because it's boring. I ended up putting a glass pack on it because the muffler rusted out, and I didn't really realize. Probably could have realized if I would have just looked at the damn shape of the resonator. Didn't realize that a glass pack was supposed to replace the resonator. So I just put it in the muffler position.
That's what I would have done. So don't beat yourself up over that one.
But it sounded okay. My favorite part was if you were like cruising in fourth gear and you let off the gas like real suddenly, it would backfire. So that was fun.
Yes. Oh, I found a new love for
I don't know if I ever showed you that or not.
Yeah. When I was in it a few times, I remember that. I remember you mentioning it, and I remember us doing that. Oh man, I have a newfound love for burbles. It used to, because it used to sound like a gunshot. It would do like one loud pop, right, and then it would burble for a little bit, for a few seconds.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a gunshot, but yeah, there'd be a couple that were like louder than others.
Right. I just looked it up. Those things weigh 2,400 pounds. That is insane.
Oh yeah, they're super light.
I wonder if I can.
Slightly.
Let's see if I can find the strut tower width. No. Wow. Oh, that's okay. I'll see how it is. It's first episode, so we're doing the best we can.
Hopefully it doesn't get too messed up.
Because 2,400 pounds. Because we'll get to this in a few minutes here, but I have that 3-valve engine still, hopefully, and the trans with the upgraded clutch. Can you imagine a 3-valve like SL2? It's like 2,400 pounds. That would be insane.
Or any type of V8 in an SL2. I know there's some people that have put the LS4 in them.
Front wheel drive.
Yeah. Those
that
LS
would be
engines.
undrivable.
Just burnout machine.
Let's do the math. Power to weight. All right, 8 pounds per horsepower in the SL2. Let's do my car now just for shits. All right, so we're at 8 pounds per horsepower in the SL2. Dude, if we put the 3-valve in an SL2, it would have the same power to weight as my car has right now.
No shit.
Yeah, that would be fast. And I already have the trans.
Incredible.
Yeah, that would be so fast. Wow. Okay. That's something to keep in the back of our minds.
Oh yeah. I'm down for that.
For when this podcast gets all successful and we can make money off it, we can buy an SL2 and 3-valve swap it.
There we go. So,
oh my god, that would be insane.
This car met its end because I don't think there was really anything super exciting. I mean, I kind of decided that I was gonna. Huh?
You can go to the details if you want.
Well,
you had quite a day, beforehand, and that day. I mean, no, was it that day or the day before? It was that day, right?
It was like It was like the previous 24 hours, but I'm not going to get into that. Um,
No, that's fair.
um,
That's fine.
I didn't really do. I like plasti dipped the rear spoiler because the clear coat was coming off. I was just trying to. I'm sure if I still had that car, I would have like cut the springs, like put a roof rack on it.
The spoiler did look good. The dip spoiler did look
Yeah,
good
that
on
came
it.
out nice. That's thinking back on that is what's kind of making me want to dip my wheels, and because I think they would look good in black.
I can help you. Actually, now that I have the car, man, I will. What are you doing tomorrow? You want to dip your wheels tomorrow?
I
I'll
think it
drive
might be a
out.
little too chilly to do it tomorrow. I want to make sure the dip's gonna
That's a good point.
adhere
Is there?
well.
Yeah. Is there a? That's a good point. Is there a temperature
I
limit for
mean,
dip?
when I did it on the Saturn, it was like June, I think, so it wasn't really an issue. I mean, I
Yeah.
would, I would hate to use up all the cans and get all that crap all over my wheels and just find out that it's not adhering and the dip looks all shitty. But
No, that's a good point. Actually, I have like 3 cans unopened in my garage. I mean, like if you want to
oh,
do it,
that would have been nice to know before I bought 6 of them.
yeah. I forgot. I forgot I had them until recently. I bought them when I had my first GT. Remember when I dipped the wheels? That's why I bought them all.
Yes.
Which
Sass.
sass. Which I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about the with that car. The base wheels were. Yeah, I don't know. I like the bullet wheels a
You
lot more.
know, and yeah, the wheels on your second GT were a lot better, but
Yeah, the classic.
those wheels, in a way, they kind of remind me of the wheels that, like the ones that are on the Shelby.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, because the
They're like
ones, yeah,
they're like an Aldi version.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that's right. Because it's like you could tell they were base model, but they weren't. They didn't look bad. But it's just that the premium wheels were so much better.
Yeah,
Um,
but so that was in the summertime. This was summer 2015, and then changed the starter on it. That was fun. Me and my buddy did that in our friend's driveway. Got oil and crap all over our hands,
yep.
and you know the starter was very well placed on that one,
Where was
and
it?
it was like I can't even. I'm trying to think of how I could word it. Basically, you had to reach up and like in toward the engine from underneath.
Oh, from the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you could barely see it from the top of the car.
Yep. One of those. Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those. Not fun. So we did that, and the flex pipe rusted, so it sounded like ass. Had that fixed. And then it was we started our sophomore year. You were in the house. I was living in Grant, and it was the end of our first week of classes, and I was in a bad mood. I shouldn't have been driving. I wasn't like intoxicated or anything, but I wasn't in a good mood, and I just wasn't paying as close of attention as I should have been, and I hit somebody, and I mean, I didn't destroy the front end, but I destroyed the hood, burst the radiator, the like front area where the fan attaches got pushed back. I mean, the car still ran, it still drove, but the front end was pretty dicked after that.
Right.
Ironically, I think you were at the IHOP somewhat nearby.
Oh, I was. Yeah, that happened right in front of the IHOP. Was I
Yeah.
there when that happened?
See, I think you were, but I mean, that was a long time ago, so maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. That was well, yeah, you know how that whole ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's who I think it was, then yes, I remember how that went.
Was it what month was that?
This would have been August 2015.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I probably was there then.
So, anyway, so yeah, um got it towed. So, uh should I say the name of the tow company?
Did they dick
Cuz I
you
mean, I don't
over?
really care. Oh yeah, they were dicks.
Well then yeah, fuck them.
Okay, Lovitz in DeKalb. Don't ever don't ever call them. There's some bad people there. The lady that runs like the place. Actually, I think that's who towed your first GT, wasn't it?
Yep, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, well, you remember what an asshole the receptionist lady was.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'm sure it was the same one because your incident happened less than a year later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they were a jerk. They were jerks. They wouldn't let I had a company from Belvedere come so that they could tow the Saturn back to my mom's house, and they like wouldn't let them on the lot. They like made me pay extra to tow the Saturn to a side street so the other tow company could pick it up. Is just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
I learned a lot of things from that accident. A
yeah.
lot of things that hopefully I'll never repeat.
Right.
One of them is don't ever have anything to do with Lovitz in DeKalb if you can help it.
Right. Any towing. I have heard nothing but bad things about towing companies because we live, close enough to Chicago that Lincoln Towing, those guys. Oh my God, I've heard some horror stories, and we've seen videos towing like SRT Jeeps with the wheels on the ground. Stuff like that. It's just terrible.
Yeah. So, had it parked at my mom's house for a few weeks. I took the radio out of it, put it up for sale, and someone who I went to high school with bought it. They fixed it up and drove it for a while, and then I found it for sale again in early 2016, right after the incident with your first Mustang, actually, or your first GT, and
Yeah.
I was literally this close to buying it back.
Yeah.
Like, I think they had it listed for like $900. I was so close to buying it back.
Did I tell you to buy it
Truth
back?
be
I don't
told,
remember.
I mean, what?
Did I tell you to buy it back? I don't remember. I remember you showing me
I
the
mean,
listing.
knowing you probably did,
Yeah, I probably did.
but no, I didn't buy it back, and I'm not sure where it is anymore. The kid that I sold it to, I think he sold it to someone in a nearby town, and I haven't seen it since. I still have the VIN. I'd really like to search up the VIN and see if I can figure out where it is. I actually had a dream last night that I saw that Saturn while I was driving, and I was like trying to follow it, and I was like following it through town, and I ended up losing it. I still dream about that car every once in a while.
You were behind it.
There's just something about your first car, you know?
No, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of want to try to find the VIN of my first car and look it up and just see if it's still around or not. But like speaking of
I
that,
saved all my registrations, so...
oh yeah, I have folders for each one of my cars.
Oh, well then yeah, you'll have the VIN.
Right, because, well, that's what I'm slightly worried about. I guess we can lead right into this. So the next car then, for me, like I said, I found the Mustang GT on Craigslist. Met up with the guy. Got it for about 10 grand. It was 10,250. This was 2014, 2005 GT. It was 9 years old. Paid about 10 grand
And
for
how much
it.
did you get for your V6?
Sold it for, that's a good question. Actually, I think I bought it for 7,300 and then sold it for 69. I think I got the numbers switched. But yeah, I think I sold it for 69, which is not bad. I didn't do anything.
You got more for that car than you did for the
Oh,
other one that you just traded in?
that's a good point. I think I did.
No way.
Well, let's think. In
Wow.
2014, that V6 would have been 9 years old. Right now, my car
That's
is
true.
16 years old. Or my old car is 16 years
That's
old.
true.
Yeah, so found this GT, and I bought it. And I loved it. Cherished it very much. It was my first actual muscle car. It had a V8. It was everything I wanted. It was perfect. So, first thing I did was I cut the exhaust off. You remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the car had about...
I loved how that thing sounded with the hacked off exhaust.
Right, because, the exhaust the mufflers were rusted on, and for Christmas that year, I asked for a straight piped, like a cat deleted, an off-road H-pipe, so a catless H-pipe. And I knew I was getting it for Christmas because that was the only thing I asked for. So I'm like, I don't care, like, if it's, the only gift I want, I just want this exhaust. So my buddy and I, we were trying to take the mufflers off the GT, and they were rusted on. It was pretty bad. It was 80,000 miles. The car lived in the Midwest its whole life, so those things were rusted on. So we cut the whole exhaust off, and instead of just cutting the mufflers off, we cut the exhaust right before the stock H-pipe. So essentially it was cats and then dumped right underneath the center of the car. So it would resonate throughout the entirety of the car. So while it wasn't louder than what it ended up as, you felt more of it. You felt the noise coming from the engine. Every revolution of that engine you felt coming through the seat because the exhaust was exiting 8 inches beneath the front seats in that car.
That, and it would, like, bounce off the pavement and stuff, too.
Oh, yeah. So we cut half of the over the axle pipe on one of them, and we couldn't get the Sawzall up high enough without getting it really close to the fuel line. And we were 18 years old. We're like, well, we're just going to leave it. So we cut it like 90% of the way, and this pipe was hanging down. And every bump I would hit, the exhaust pipe would bang off of one of the anti-roll bars in the rear exhaust. So we would find some stretch of road that would be bumpy, and it would just be smacking off that the whole entire time.
I forgot about that.
I did too until you just brought it up, actually. So that was fun. And then I got the exhaust for Christmas, and then over spring break, we put it on. So the car was fully, completely, entirely straight piped. And it is still the loudest car I've ever heard, ever. I remember my buddy, we were cruising around one time, and he said, yeah, when you revved at the light in front of me, I felt it in the pedals, like his feet were vibrating. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You had an H-pipe on that car,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So it had the stock headers, an off-road H-pipe, and then it had SLP loudmouths on the back, which are muffler deletes. So the car was fully in straight pipe. There was not one cat, no res. Actually, the 2005 Mustang, the 05 to 09 Mustangs did not come with a resonator. They didn't have them. It was cats and muffler only, and I got rid of both of those on that car. And it was incredibly loud. Now, fun fact, it was slower. The car actually got slower when I did that. It was tuned on 93, but it was still slower. I know this because I
And I
raced.
still can't figure out why that is. Is
Right.
it like a back pressure thing?
It's a back pressure, and I had a shitty tune. That's the only thing I can think of. It was one of those email tunes. It wasn't a dyno tune, so I think I just was on a shitty tune, and it just wasn't working. Because I was leaving a meet one time, and I had some guy pull up next to me in like an '05 to '09 GT. That was it was bolt on regular mods, and he beat me, and it wasn't like close. He like pulled on me pretty well, and it was then that I was like, man, all right, well, I sacrificed performance for sound, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
So you're a stance boy.
yeah, right. So that was fall 2014. Now I drove the car for a bit. It was great. Had a lot of fun. Got an exhaust ticket in it, as you do. We fast forward to January. Was it 29th or 31st? 29th, I think.
Oh, you're skipping an important part, Mike. Your
Yeah.
cams.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, okay. Okay. Christmas 2015. That's right. So 1 year after I got the exhaust, I wanted cams. So I asked for a set of Detroit Rockers cams, two of them, because it's single overhead camshaft. So I only needed two. So I had the car cammed right before I went back to school after winter break in 2015 into 16, that winter break. The car was cammed, and it sounded good. Oh, man, it sounded great. Now, with the straight pipes
And
before...
it got even louder.
Yes, it did. It did get louder. Now, before the cams, one of my favorite things of that car was with the straight pipes. If you revved up to about $4,000 and let off, this thing would sound like actual gunshots, like multiples, like gunshots just firing off behind the car. It was insane. We used to drive around campus, and I would do that. Multiple times, people would like hit the ground when this thing would start backfiring. I don't know if you remember that, but going around like Grant
that.
and Stevenson, yeah. When I would go around by Grant and Stevenson and I would let off, people would hit the ground.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, that was one of my.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, that was one of my favorite things to do in that car. Is just like you didn't have to get on it. You just slowly get up to $4,000 and let off real quick, and it would start like firing off shots, and it was so loud. People would dive under their stomachs. So
After you got the cams, was it Jeremy that said it sounded like a Harley Davidson?
yeah, I probably that's either a him thing or a Mickus thing.
I mean, it kind of did. It was really, really loud.
Yeah, it was when that was when I would be in fifth in the highway and I would just punch it and I wouldn't go anywhere, but it would just be loud. Yeah, that was the Harley.
Yeah, if I did that in my car, I would blow it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an interesting point. That's something I have to look out for. Now that I have a blower, I can't be flooring it in like fifth and sixth when I'm, that's something to look out for. But yeah, I put the cams in, and it stopped backfiring because just of the way the cam was set up, which was, it loped at idle. It chopped. It was loud, and it was good. I liked it a lot. Anyway, 2 weeks later, after I had the cams installed, Alex was in the car, as was my roommate at the time.
This would be the person we referenced earlier during the SRT4 discussion.
Yes. It was the very end of January. I mean, the Mustang was my daily driver. I didn't have something for the winter, which was fine because I was only driving around school and then back home on the highway, which was always plowed, so that was okay. It was the end of January, and we went through downtown DeKalb, where our school is, and some guy, I don't even remember what, it might have been like a BMW or something, some guy and a girl in the car. He was kind of like messing with us, like speeding up past us and whatever. So I got next to
He
him.
was being an ass.
Yeah. So it's one lane through town, and then it opens up to 2 lanes each way when you get through town. So I got next to him, and we were back and forth for a little bit, just on the gas, off the gas, and then I dropped it into probably second, because we were going slow enough. Dropped it into second. Traction control off, because why wouldn't I think? Punched it, and the rear end came out as it did, as I'm used to it doing, except it really came out. The car was probably at a 45-degree angle at this time. We were in the inside lane.
No. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I guess we were.
We were, because I was surprised that he didn't run into us, because we were in front of him. The rear end came out. The front, we were facing the right of where we should have been facing. I just closed my eyes. I didn't even hit the brakes, honestly, because by that point the rear end was so far out that I don't know if I could have done anything at that point. I closed my eyes, held onto the wheel, heard a lot of loud noises. I blinked my eyes open for like a quarter of a second, saw the shattered windshield, and then closed my eyes again. And what felt like an eternity of just noises and being rocked around in the car, but it finally came to a stop. And I opened my eyes, and I saw the hood gone. Front driver's side of the engine compartment smashed in. Windshield destroyed. I heard both of you guys. I heard you yell, "Is everyone okay?" I looked over in the passenger seat. He looked back at me like, normal. And then my first thought was, you guys are alive, so that's good. And my second thought was, holy shit, well, this is it. And I just, yelled, my life is over. Because that was, the only thing I could get out at that time. We all managed to get out of the car. Did you get out of the passenger side? I can't remember. I would assume so.
See, I think I did, but I don't remember, exiting the car. I don't remember, I just remember, kind of standing there, and then I don't even know. Now that I think about it, it's kind of a blur after the, actual impact, because I remember the car kicking out, and I was like, oh, Mike's done this, but he knows how to correct this.
Right.
But then I was like, no, he's not going to correct this one. And I remember my phone was charging. It was resting on your center console. I had a portable battery with me.
Yes.
And I remember just grabbing it, holding it super tightly in my hands, and just closing my eyes and bracing, because I knew what was going to happen. So then I remember us spinning. I remember yelling is everyone okay? And then what you said, and then I was just we got to get out of the car. And
yeah, that was
I
you.
remember who it must have been was it you that bought oil, or was it Jeremy?
That was Jeremy. Jeremy had just bought 5 quarts of oil for his car, which were sitting in my back seat.
Which promptly ended up all over your back seat. Yep,
it exploded, and it's still on those seats in my garage, actually, which I have to sell now that I have a car that I'm not going to put them in. Yeah.
So, yeah, we got out, and I just remember, I remember the police coming, and I don't even know if I looked at the car right away. I know I looked at it at some point because I saw the front end and the driver's side completely destroyed.
Right.
I was I was trying to help either you or Jeremy find something.
My
Maybe I
phone,
was trying to find something.
my phone was sitting in the cup holder. My window was half open. We found my phone 100 feet away sitting in a puddle in the street. I remember that because
Yeah.
my parents had literally switched our insurance policies 6 days before. So I didn't even have it printed out yet. So I had to find my phone because that's where my insurance policy was. And I remember when that happened,
Mhm.
our insurance needed so much like police reports and everything, but like more than usual because they had to prove that this accident didn't happen before we got their policy, you know. But yeah, my phone ended up 100 feet outside of the car. It was you, I think. It was either you or like that lady cop who found it. Someone found it and then gave me my phone. It was sitting there, like unlocked too. I think. Screen was on when I picked it up off the ground somehow. But yeah, the one witness besides the guy who was next to us, who I still don't know who that was. I never learned who he was or any of that. The one witness.
The guy from Petrol Heads?
Yes, the one witness was
His name was Jonathan something.
Yeah, I remember his name. I won't say his last name, but there was one witness who saw it. One guy who just so happened to be in our car group, and I couldn't find my phone after it happened. I remember he stopped, and I asked him if I could use his phone, and he said sure. And I called my mom, and I remember the first thing I said was, "Well, it finally happened." That's what I said to her.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing you say that.
Yep. My dad and my sister were at like West Michigan or something university visiting it because my sister was looking at schools. So I didn't tell them. My sister found out because her friend told her. And like they were driving back like the next day. They didn't find out till the next day. I didn't want because I knew she was gone, and I'm like, well, she has to do this because that's important. So I didn't want to tell them. So.
Well, and it was so late in the night that, like,
Yeah,
I didn't tell my parents until the next morning either.
Right. And you were okay, right? Did you have any, like, pains or any weird anything?
Yeah, my head kind of hurt the next day or so, but I was more, like, just kind of, whoa, like, you know, shaken up than anything.
Right. I mean, that's wear your fucking seatbelts, kids. My phone ended up in the middle of the street. That could have been me if I wasn't strapped in, you know?
Yeah, thank God we were all wearing our seatbelts.
Well, that's, like, I always wore my seatbelt before that happened, but ever since the accident, like, that was, like, it. Like, if I wasn't wearing my the airbags did not go off in the car when that accident happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, I don't know what would have happened. Yeah, I was largely okay. I didn't realize till later that night that my wrist was bleeding a lot. I didn't even realize because I had my leather jacket on. Yeah, that whole night, and then oh, you already said his Jeremy. His arm was out the window, and like on the door. And I drove by there and I got out after it happened. And the car hit the building, bounced off 2 light poles. Like each door was caved in. And that's where his arm was.
Yeah.
So he pulled his arm in at the last second, but he still hurt his arm pretty bad when that happened.
He had some cuts on his face, I think, too.
Yeah, because his window was down. Luckily, my window was half down and it shattered, which is what cut my wrist. But yeah. So that was my wake up call. That was that. Well, I don't know what else to say, but that was. I was 19. I had gotten many tickets before that happened. I got 3 tickets that night. And Yeah, that was my wake-up call. My record has been clean since.
And then, so that thing got towed back to the house, and we basically stripped it.
After the tow yard. Yeah. After the tow yard. Yeah, I had to go. Yeah. Yeah, I had them tow it back to our house. I literally, this tow truck driver, what a dude, put the car in our garage. Like, backed this fucking thing into the garage, unloaded it off the bed. Like, it was perfect. So, yeah. Yeah, you, me, and like a shitload of other people, we stripped the entire car. We pulled literally everything off of it. We pulled the engine and trans out. We pulled all the airbags out, the full interior, all the seats, steering wheel.
I think the only thing you didn't take besides the wheels was the rear end.
Yes, right. I left the rear end in. I took the drive shaft. I left the rear end in. Yeah. And I left the rear end in mainly because I think 3 of the 4 wheels were like dented because of jumping up that curb. So I left that on, and and then they crushed it. But yeah, so that was my wake up call at age 19. 300 horsepower in 2021 is not a lot, I guess. But, yeah, it's still an okay amount. But, yeah, that was...
Did a lot of sketchy things in that car.
I almost killed you 3 times in that car. One of which was the accident, and there was 2 times before.
Yeah, leaving the car wash before the Paul Walker meet. And out in the middle of nowhere, coming over the hill, and we didn't know there was a stop at the bottom.
Yep. Yeah, right. Going down a hill. Because it had just snowed. So I'm like, let's go out in the Mustang and fucking drift every corner and every straight we can.
As you do.
And we came over that hill. Yeah, right. And we came over that hill, and there was a T intersection at the bottom, and the end of the T was our side. So I'm like, all right, well, we're either going into the ditch, or I'm going to rip the e-brake and get it sideways, and then hopefully we can dig ourselves out. I didn't even think until after we managed to stop with the e-brake that there could have been a car coming. We would have been fucked.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't even cross my mind at all until after. And then we went to Portillo's and I bought you guys food because I almost killed you guys.
I don't remember when it was.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, was that right before the accident, or was that? Okay, I bought the car.
No, it wasn't that early. It was definitely in the wintertime.
It could have been like spring 15. It was either spring 15 or winter 15, because I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was the cams, so it might have been winter. It might have been like the first snow of winter 15. Or like one of those, yeah. So yeah, that was my first Mustang GT.
All right. Do you want to, we're getting to be like hour and 7 minutes here. Do you want to stop after I talk about the Buick and save the rest for next time, or what do you think?
Well, you do that, and then I will do my next car since it's literally the same exact car, and it'll take 5 seconds, and then we can stop because the car's.
Oh, you're not gonna include the Peages?
I'm thinking of throwing those into the cars we remember as kids topic.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, I grew up in those, and then that whole thing.
And the Liberty, can't forget that.
Fuck that thing. I try to forget it.
No, this Liberty was fun. If you're not going to talk about it, I am. So
All right, I'll bring up the Liberty, and I'll bring up the metal ball and all that. Well, okay, maybe not the metal ball. Maybe not that. That might be illegal. It may be illegal, but yeah.
God.
Okay, I'll talk about the Liberty a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, okay. Actually, I could do that now because I wrecked my car. My mom thought she could pay for a Jeep Liberty to get me around. And then after we bought said Liberty, she was like, "You can drive this until you're done with college." And I'm like, "No, I'm buying another Mustang. That's what I'm doing." She thought she could buy this Liberty, give it to me, and then I would just drive it all willy-nilly until I finished college. I'm like, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. My family, my family sat me down. Like, my entire extended family came over one time, and they sat me down, and they tried to talk me out of buying another Mustang until I finished school. Did I ever tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, right after I wrecked my first GT, my aunt, uncle, and my other uncle came over, and it was for like a holiday or something. At the end of the night, they sat me down for like over an hour and just not like pleaded, but basically tried to convince me to drive not a Mustang until I finished school. And I had to like keep reiterating that, like the whole reason I have friends at school is because of the car group. So I can't drive a Jeep Liberty. Like,
Well, I mean, to be fair, look what I drove, and I was still not laughed away.
No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. It doesn't matter. Okay. Being a car enthusiast does not at all, in any way, shape, or form, depend on what you drive at all.
But I see what you're saying. I get where you're coming from.
Right. Well, yeah, that's exactly. No, it's a very good point. That's a very good point to bring up. Being a car enthusiast, it doesn't matter what you drive. You can like cars. That's one of the reasons why I cannot stand the people who say, "Oh, you don't like it because you can't afford it." It's like, okay, go fuck yourself, dude. I can like something I can't afford.
We'll bring that up in the Pet Peeves podcast. I think that'll be a fun one.
Yeah. That'll be okay. That'll be that'll be a good one.
Carry on about your Liberty for a minute.
Okay. So my mom bought me this I don't even know what year it was.
I think it was like an 03, right?
That sounds about right. The first generation Jeep Liberty, it had the 3.7, I believe.
What a dog
the first
that thing
era
was.
Yeah, first era 3.7. The one saving grace was the four-wheel drive it had was the old school Jeep manual. You pull the lever, you feel it grind into four-wheel drive, and it was good. That four-wheel drive in that thing was good. I know this because I fucking sent it. Oh, yes, we did. I sent that thing in every snow-covered road I could because I had nothing else to do. I had the Liberty for a while, and soon we found out that... God, I can't believe I drove that thing. That it was a fun car to drive around campus and scream at people in and use a vuvuzela out the window at them with.
To this day, one of my favorite nights from my time at NIU.
Yes. We would take this thing around on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights and just scream at people. But it was like, it wasn't just like yelling. It was like, I was like anti-yelling. We would yell.
We'd say, "Get out the damn street."
Get out the damn street. We would scream that. We would yell, "You're beautiful" to random girls. That was a good one. And then the absolute classic, I love women. We would scream
We can't
out
take
of this
credit for
Jeep.
that, though.
We cannot. Yeah, that is neither Alex nor I who came up with that one. It was our friend who tried to leave our house while drunk, and I blocked him with said liberty. So I was like, okay, we'll make a compromise. We'll drive
That's
around
how that
in
night
the
got
shitterty.
started.
Yes, it is. So we drove around in Liberty, and we were trying to blow the vuvuzela at people, and then he kept laughing every time he would go to blow the thing. So he resorted to yelling, "I love women."
I
at
think
people.
Spieth was with us when we did that, wasn't he?
Oh, I think he was.
It was
I
like
think
one of
he
the few
was.
times he was at the house.
Yeah, right. It must have been like a sorority event or some shit that
Oh,
night.
God.
Why weren't we just playing beer pong? Probably because Jeremy wanted to go out because he always had to fucking go out.
That's exactly why it was.
Yeah, like
That's
you can't
exactly
stay
why
in
it was.
and watch
And then he tried to leave.
street racing. Right? Yeah, like we were fine sitting in the living room watching street racing videos and drinking beer. Why did we have to go out? But okay, so we're out there, and one of the sculptures at the school was a giant metal globe on top of kind of like a flagpole type dealio. And I don't know if it was really windy or something, but the giant globe fell. So what do? Well, we roll the thing into the street is what we do. to see what would happen.
Classic.
And what had happened was someone pulled up in front of it, got out of their car, moved it out of the street, and we left because that was boring and we did not want, we were looking for more action. So we left. And that was it. That was a Jeep Liberty.
You also
which was
bottomed it out on a snowbank and took it
Oh,
mudding
yeah.
once.
We did. Oh, yeah. So any of you who don't know, DeKalb, where our school was, is Cornville, Farmville. It's a college campus, and all surrounding it entirely are farms. So I completely forgot about that. Holy balls. We took this thing through a field. We were just driving through a field, and let me tell you, it did not handle it well. I mean,
No,
it
talk about a rough ride.
Yeah, right. The car was fine itself, but like it was horrible. Every single bump was just rattling through your entire body. But that was Liberty. He had it for a little while and eventually sold it pretty quickly to buy another Mustang, which I needed one with red leather because I'm an idiot and I wanted I don't even know if the VIN shows you this, but I wanted one where that said it had red leather, or at least in the options. So I flew out to New York from Chicago to buy an 05 GT because it was a premium package with full red leather, and I drove it home. I mean, I got the car for a good price, actually, so it wasn't like I threw away a
Flies
bunch of
halfway
money.
across the country to buy a 2005 Mustang.
Yeah. And like, even for the Shelby, I was not going to do that. I'm like, especially for a Shelby, I'm going to look at it before I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I did that, and I had that car up until yesterday, March 10th, 2021. But you guys will hear more about that later. Let's hear about that Buick.
Okay. So the second car I had was a 2000 Buick Lesabre Custom, which is the more like base-oriented model, but still. So after I crashed the Saturn, I was carless for about a month-ish, and then my godmother's mother had passed away, and they had owned this blue Buick, and this thing was like dead mint. It had 59,000 miles on it when I got it. They always took really good care of it. And I was like, it had a 3800, and I was like, oh, 3800, those are good engines. And boy, good engine. Literally have never had an issue with that engine. Like, my brother owns it
Yeah.
now. After I got my current car, which you will also hear about later, ended up passing it down to my youngest brother. He still has it. He drives it pretty close to daily. Takes it to and from work, and whenever he has school on campus and whatnot, still runs like a top. So
It's a
pick
good
this
point.
thing up.
Actually, yeah. I
Yeah,
never
Will has it
remember you
now.
having
He's
any issue.
has not given him no, it has not given him any trouble, and he's had it for better part of a year now, probably about 10 months.
Yeah, and I'm sure he drives a little bit easier than you did.
Yeah, a little bit. So, let's see. This thing, I never really did any performance mods to it because my intention was always I'm going to keep it as nice as possible so that I can, because in my head I was going to resell it someday. That didn't end up happening, and that's fine. I'm glad that it went to my brother. I'm glad that he has something reliable that he can drive every day.
Right.
So, yeah, it went to him. Before that, just did little like maintenance here and there, like replace the spark plugs, change the oil, all that fun type of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Had some interesting stuff happen with it though. So the cruise control went out on it. I want to say about 5 months, maybe a little longer, maybe like 7 or 8 months after I got it. And I never, if like those interiors, there's a cruise control like speed selector switch, and then there's an on-off switch that's separate. And it was the on-off
Right,
switch
yeah.
that went bad because if you held the switch down, the cruise control would stay on. But I never replaced it because this thing had a blue interior, and I don't know if the blue interiors are like uncommon or, whatever, but this thing, I could never find a button to replace that cruise control switch.
Right.
And, people are like, oh, why don't you just put a tan one in there or a black one? And I'm like, no, because then it's going to look like shit.
Exactly.
So, never did that. I had a blowout on that car on I-90. That was fun.
You did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was on my way to see the girl I was dating at the time, and I was doing, like 70-ish on I-90, and all of a sudden, I hear bam, like, straight from the rear end, and I immediately knew what it was. I was like, God damn it. Pulled over to the side of the road, changed my tire on the side of I-90, which is always a fun experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And, yeah, that was the last time I had tire issues because I had new tires put on. That car was fun. It was really torquey. Those 3800s are pretty torquey engines, so you could, especially if it was wet, you could squeal the tires pretty easily.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember doing that in that thing.
Did
I
did a little bit of racing in that car. That was actually the first time I went to a drag strip was in that car,
Yes.
running
Oh,
a
man, those are
whopping
fun times.
17-second quarter mile. But, those things
That's
are
right.
heavy, and, I'm sure if it had a supercharged 3800, it would have done a little better. But, yeah. Oh, and you remember when the window stopped working in that car?
Oh, yes, I do. Did someone try to put down the window one time when we were like going to get food from a meet or something?
No, it was because that car had a front bench seat, remember?
Yes,
So we were
because
like
we
all
rode 3 wide. Yeah, one time.
yeah, we were all piled into that thing, and then Jeremy was like, "The window's not going up," and I was like, I thought he was pranking me at first, and then no, it wasn't going up. And boys and girls, if you're ever looking to buy a Buick Regal, Lesabre, or Park Avenue from that era, be aware your window regulator will probably fail because those power window mechanisms suck. That is like the number one
Yes.
complaint with those cars is the windows.
Yep. Yep, my uncle has a Century and his windows went out on him. Yep.
I don't know if like the glass is too heavy for the design of the like regulator. I don't know what the issue is, but it seems like a lot of people have problems with those. And I was no stranger to them. Eventually, I just quit using the windows because I was always afraid they were going to stop working out of nowhere.
Right. No, I remember that. Yeah. I do remember that. Couldn't yell at people.
Nah. Which was kind of a bummer because I'm a person that always likes to drive with the windows down.
Oh yeah, it's part of being a car enthusiast.
So, I mean, that thing was always so quiet. But yeah, I had a lot of fun in that car. That car was, that was when I started, like, clinicals and I had to do a lot of commuting. That car never once let me down through all that driving. I want to say that by the time I was said and done, I probably put close to 60 or 70K on that car.
Yeah, man, you put a ton of miles in that thing. Something I haven't thought about until now recently. Yeah, you never had like an issue with that besides stuff that, like Windows, which whatever, but you never had any engine issues ever or trans, anything.
It was all general maintenance stuff. I guess the only thing I had that wasn't really general maintenance, I had a brake line that rusted out, and then I had part of a fuel line that needed to be replaced. But everything, literally everything else was just general maintenance.
Yeah, those are bulletproof.
It was
Yeah.
super reliable car. I just don't have much to say, like, there's no real, like, fun stories or anything about it except for, racing it and stuff.
Well, so yeah, we used to, we would street race everything, anything we had. I raced the Liberty a bit. You raced the Buick a lot. Yeah, we used to race those things at our meets quite regularly. Yeah, and always a good time.
It beat the Outback. I know that.
Yes, it did. Yeah, the Buick and the Outback. That was the matchup with that car. That was
the
fun.
Explorer.
Yeah, the Explorer. And did you ever run the Escape? The
I can't
Jordan's
remember.
Escape?
I want to say yes, but I can't remember. Maybe we'll have to
Right,
get Jordan
probably.
on the podcast and see what he has to say.
Man, yeah, we really do. Yeah, you had to have raced it at least once or twice. The way Jordan would drive that Escape, holy shit, that would. I remember
Jordan
leaving
drove
Nico's.
anything.
The way, yeah. Oh, I remember going out in the show right after he got it. Holy shit! Oh my god,
Dude, that thing is just nuts. He took me when I went to see him over the summer. Well, you've never been in the Cobra, have you?
I haven't even seen the Cobra. No,
Dude, that Cobra is nuts. He's like doing burnouts, and like as soon as he finishes the burnout and it like catches the pavement, it feels like the car's gonna fall apart. And he's just here like banging the gears. I'm like, holy shit, Jordan! Like, I would be terrified to drive the way he does.
right. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. You, you watched the video I just put in the group chat with the blower wine, and I floored it in first, let it go all the way out, and then I put it in second, and it was like nice and slow. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, I feel that it's.
So
I want to see the Cobra.
since you drove the ST, does that mean I get to drive the Shelby?
Yeah, I just need to tell you that how the clutch is, because it's one of those cars that you can't be feathering the clutch. You need to be letting the clutch out quick.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Yeah, because '07 Shelby specifically, '07 to '09, but '07 specifically, the clutch. If you feather the clutch too much, it'll overheat the flywheel and then warp it.
Really?
Yeah, so there's two things on the '07s. It's the clutch, which the issue I just said, and the crankshaft pulley is too heavy for the stock car. So if you start adding power, such as a pulley, like a supercharger pulley, it'll destroy the crank pulley, which in turn could throw the crank off and blow your whole engine.
Oh my God.
So people swap on the new Shelby pulleys onto those. So, I mean, first things first, tires, and then after that, we'll see. I mean, it's intake pulley and tune, but if I'm doing that, I'm probably going to do the crankshaft pulley at the same time. But we'll see when that comes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have the belt off and everything, you might as well.
Right. I might as well. It's like $700 for a new crank pulley, though. It's insane. It's a piece of metal. It's machined.
That's how they get you, man.
But yeah, yeah. It's just a Ford. It's just a 5.4, but that doesn't mean it's the same 5.4 out of the F-150 because it is not.
It's just a Ford. I want to say something
just a small
right now,
block
but
Ford.
I don't know if I should.
Well, it isn't just a van.
No, it is not. But yeah, I had that Buick from late September 2015 until last May, technically May 2020.
Yeah. Right.
And now my little brother owns it, so I still see it. I just drove it. Actually, we went to the card shop in January, and it was like right after it had snowed. So I was drifting with it, and like I kicked it out like a lot further than I thought I would. And my little brother was like, "Whoa!" Like it was fun. Because now that I don't own it, I'm not scared to beat on it anymore.
Right. Exactly. You did enough maintenance on it. It should be fine.
I did. I had the transmission fluid changed before I gave it to my brother. Had the wheels balanced. I did something else. I can't remember what else I had done with it, but I tried to make sure it was as sound as possible. Oh, I changed the serpentine belt, and as I was loosening the tensioner to like get the belt back on, my hand slipped off the wrench and I punched myself in the face.
That's always a bad one.
Yeah.
But I think the worst one is when you punch a piece of metal and you break your knuckle open, because holy balls, it's like instant rage and then into immediate pain. It's like the worst of both.
I thought
punching
I broke
yourself
my
in the
nose.
face. Oh, geez, yeah, okay.
It
yeah,
went because like
yourself in the nose.
You know, you have to relieve tension off the tensioner so you can like slide the belt underneath, and my hand slipped off of the box wrench I was holding, just went straight into my nose. It hoit.
Jeez, yeah, it does hoit. Yeah, something I was just doing. I was working on my car before I sold it. I was fixing some stuff up. Oh, I was changing the oil, and the oil, the filter wasn't coming off. And it broke loose, and I clocked myself in the face with that one.
That's always a fun one when your oil filter isn't coming off.
Yeah, clock yourself in the face and get oil all over the garage.
Yep.
Which is fun.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So,
well, yeah, that was good. Those are our original cars, not including the cars we have now, which we were trying to get into here, but I'm glad we talked more than that because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But I think we will save our current cars and the search for our current cars, especially for another time. If anyone has interest in that, we'll talk about that for sure.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We gotta.
Of course, we have to. We have many topics to cover, so we'll have to hit that eventually. Maybe next time. We'll see if anyone shows any interest in this at all. I don't even know how I'm going to publish this, where I'm going to publish this, who I'm going to show it to, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that has been our history of car ownership up until right before the cars that we have most recently bought. Alex's car since spring of last year, and my car since literally yesterday. I got a new one, which...
Spoiler alert, mine is a 2016 Ford Focus ST.
Focus ST, and mine is a 2007 Shelby GT500.
So I guess Mike converted me over to Fords or something.
Something like that. Well, I mean, the Focus ST is just such a good platform. I mean, for the money, the bang for the buck, for what you get for the aftermarket, the tuner market, it's just incredible. The interior quality in your car, like, you're going to see mine, you're going to laugh.
You think so?
I mean, it's... So imagine my car, all the shitty plastic pieces of my old car, like in the dash, but leather wrapped. That's literally all the Shelby is. They just wrap the shitty plastic in leather.
Well,
that's
it was 2007, and you're only laughing until you feel it.
Until you punch it and you hear the blower whine, and then
right.
And then you forget all about it. Right.
But we'll save that for next time. We probably better end this here.
Yeah, I think it was pretty. I think it's good. But yeah, well, thanks everyone for listening. However, single digits, many of you are listening to this first episode of Lot C2. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to let us know somewhere down below, whatever platform this is on, which I'll figure out hopefully soon.
And tune in next time.
Yeah, tune in next time for the topic that we will decide on the spot before we record.
Or maybe during.
Yeah, probably. We'll just have the Google Doc open and we'll just pick and choose something that sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good. I've been Mike, and
I've been Alex.
I want to say thanks to all of you for listening and tuning in, and hopefully you stay tuned. Hopefully you had fun, and if you have any suggestions or comments on how we could improve or change anything or whatever, let us know, and we look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Thanks everyone for listening.